メジャー翻訳速報。ワールドシリーズ開幕を迎え、ドジャースの大谷翔平選手と山本由伸選手の活躍が大きな注目を集めています。特に山本投手は第2戦の先発が決定し、球界を代表する2人の日本人選手が同じチームでワールドシリーズに挑むという歴史的な瞬間となります。今回はドジャースの先発ローテーション、大谷選手の打撃の調子、そして現地メディアの注目度について翻訳でお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう今のうちにチャンネル登録をお願いします。
World Series Report presented by Capital One, getting you set for the Yankees and the Dodgers. World Series Game 1 at Dodger Stadium as we're just days away. First fall classic since 1956 to feature each league's home run champion. And assuming Judge and Ohtani claim MVPs, just the second World Series meetings of MVPs since 1988. So we're focusing on the big three. It's not just Judge and Ohtani. Of course, it's Soto, Stanton, Mookie, and Freeman as well. The numbers so far in this postseason, on OPS over 1,000 for the Yankees and 860 for the Dodgers. So far the Yankees would have the edge, at least by that measure, more home runs, more RBI, and the average basically is a toss-up. Back with Mike Lowell and Carlos Pena. So let's go through the big three. First off, for the Dodgers, Ohtani, Mikey, got off to a slow start in the LDS, but then was great in the NLCS, seemed to find his groove. Clearly is a guy who looks like he's going to play his best in his first ever World Series.
So we had to pick who's the more dangerous threesome, right? So I said, for me, Juan Soto is the best hitter in all baseball. You have, like you said, he's going to be the MVP of the American League and probably the most prodigious power hitter of our generation. So with all that being said, I'm taking the Dodgers.
Wow.
All right? And we're splitting hairs here. I don't want to slight the Yankees because I'm taking the Dodgers, and that's why I've gone so back and forth in our speculation and predictions in the series. But I look at these three guys, and what I see out of the three of them is consistent quality at-bats. And I think they're tougher to pitch to, and when you get to the World Series, you're facing the best arms in the toughest situations, the highest leverage situations. I think what separates the Dodger threesome is going to be the factor of when you look at Ohtani, with his 55 stolen bases, and Mookie Betts, who actually steals almost 3 times as often in the postseason as he does during the regular season. I think that brings an element of discomfort for the opposing pitcher. When you got guys that are looking to take the extra base every pitch, it speeds you up a little bit. It makes you maybe want to throw a couple more fastballs, which might set up a better pitch for the hitters following through. With that being said, Carlos Pena, who do you got?
I'm going to make the case for the Yankees. And because the question, the way I interpret it was, who do you fear the most, right? And that threesome right there, that group, it's just scary. I mean, because you know that with one swing of the bat, you can just twist the score around in the scoreboard, right? Now, when you look at the fact that, Soto has been great, right?
Yes.
You saw how Stanton showed up and came up with huge hits. But Judge hasn't even gotten going yet.
Yes.
Right? He got some big hits, but he hasn't been performing up to the level that we know he's capable of performing. This is the thing, Mike. All he has to do is touch it, and he could just leave the yard. And that is a scary thought. And the fact that he is due. And we've seen what he's done during the regular season. No, he's been a little absent there in the postseason. But if this guy turns it on and we see Stanton continue to his streak, because he's a very streaky hitter, I'll give you that, Mike. You're right.
Yeah.
These three are firing all cylinders. This group right here, if you ask me, the question is who's the most feared, I would say right here, the Yankees.
So the concern right now for the Yankees, Judge, as you mentioned, 161 this postseason, 0 for 7 runners in scoring position. And Mikey, with the Dodgers, Freddie Freeman's only 1 for his last 16. Clearly hobbled by this ankle injury. He missed Games 4 and Game 6, has 6 days off, but that might neutralize that big three a little bit if Freddie's not as usual.
I agree. I think that's the question mark of, are we going to get consistency on the Yankee side from Stanton? Because although his home runs were huge, he had 4 hits the whole ALCS. They were all huge home runs, which I give it to him.
Yep.
But it was 4. So he might seemingly be more pitchable.
Yes.
Freddie Freeman, if his ankle's not significantly better, which I hope with 5 days off it would be, because I want to see these two teams at full strength. I think it neutralizes some of his power. Like he's even said, I can make a good swing, but can you generate the same type of power? Is that extra base power and that home run threat still very prevalent, which I don't think it would be if you're on a bum ankle that reports are saying it usually takes 4 weeks to heal. Hey, hurry up, you got 4 days. It's not really fair to him, but it kind of speaks of what a true warrior he is.
Maybe he'll get his Kirk Gibson moment, speaking of a Dodger pump.
You never know.
It's interesting also, Los, 5 of the 6 guys have 1 MVP, and you mentioned the guy might be the best of them all is Soto, who has not won MVP. 3 home runs in the LCS.
I mean, he's just so locked in. Every single at-bat, it's an epic battle. I mean, he goes out there, picks an area and a pitch and sits on they're waiting for the pitch to hit. I mean, the discipline just goes through the roof. Very difficult to pitch to. And these teams are guys, you got to throw strikes. If you're going to go up against any of these teams, you're a pitcher. You better be in the strike zone. Otherwise, these guys are going to find themselves on first base. But that's scary to come in the strike zone to these guys.
Yeah.
Stanton, Judge, Soto. All they have to do is just touch it, and they can leave any park. We're talking about Stanton and a Judge specifically, Mike. We look at that they're perennially among the league leaders in exit velocity. Rightfully so, because even when they don't make perfect contact, it's an absolute missile. They're so strong.
Our buddy Cliff Floyd did a great breakdown on Soto. Specifically, Mikey, there's nobody who hits the high fastball quite like him. And you guys know this. 95 up in the zone with that kind of rise. If you can make contact, it's one thing. Soto does damage with that pitch.
Yeah, and he opened my eyes in the 2019 World Series because he hit a couple high fastballs. And Garrett Cole was there, Justin Verlander was there, and I was like, this 20-year-old is doing this? And when you really look at his mechanics, what's really unbelievable is he has a powerful load with minimal to no head movement. I actually think from his point where he sets, his head is a little bit behind. Most guys, they shift a little bit forward, but with Soto, it looks like he actually shifts back. It seems like he buys an extra 6 inches of being able to pick up the ball, the visual, and maybe one click later he can wait than most other guys.
Yeah.
Besides that, he has elite plate discipline, and I think the fact that when you mentioned, Carlos, that he looks for a certain pitch or a certain zone, to be able to look for it and be disciplined to not swing at the one that looks almost like that is almost as important, because then you buy the next pitch. I think we saw with the Hunter Gaddis at bat. It was nasty slider, and it was kind of defensive swings. I'm still kind of on. He's not going to strike me out. Comes with a fastball. I was really ready for that one. Then he takes your bridge. So that's what makes him so tough, and that's where I think, what lefty do you bring in to give him maybe an awkward view? Because I don't believe there's a lefty that's just going to come in, hey, we're going to dominate you, Juan. That guy doesn't exist on the planet.
And I must add to that, because one of the things, he's a very feared hitter, hits a lot of home runs, 40 plus in the regular season, very flat swing. And that's why he can let the ball travel so deep into the zone. So for the young guys out there, it's like, hey, I want to be like Soto. Well, do not interpret the exit velo and the angle of the home runs as coming underneath and trying to scoop up the baseball. This guy's in the zone very early, stays on it for a very long time, very rotational. It's a very distinct style, but level works.
I want to be like Juan Soto, too. I got little leaguers, so I want to know what it feels like.
13 home runs against lefties and a .550 slugging percentage.
Yeah.
Lefty on lefty, no problem.
Exactly.
I'll take this guy.
Unbelievable.
Hey, Dave. I saw that MLB announced that the Game 1 starter is going to be Jack Flaherty. So, one, I guess, congratulations on kind of just that decision. But what does that mean for the team, and what led to that decision?
I think, obviously Jack's been really good for us. That last start was standing. Yamamoto will start Game 2. And I think if you're looking at kind of both those pitchers and what the potential World Series could look like, just giving both those guys the best opportunity to participate, to pitch, and put them in the best spots possible, as far as days of rest and things like that.
When you think about just what you've learned about Jack and his time in Dodger Blue, and really how you saw him handle Game 1 of the NLCS, what is it about just his performance, his composure on the mound, the intensity, all of that you like about how he can set the tone in Game 1 of this series?
Well, I think that, it's been good. Obviously, the experience, the way to kind of navigate an outing, he's seen it all. And, even looking at his last start in New York, I think that, self-admitted that certain parts of that game sped up on him. And I think that's a lesson to be learned. And so I think that with Jack, the experience, that's another experience moment for him that I think that can kind of help him in this series right now. So I think that, we got through it, we weathered it. No pun intended. I think he's healthy now. And he'll spit out a good one on Friday.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from Dave Assay. Go ahead, Dave. Hey, Dave. I was wondering what the chances are of Vesia and Gratterall being part of your bullpen in the World Series, and also just another part of that question to your bullpen. When did you start to realize they had that identity of the self-proclaimed dogs out there?
Yeah, it was certainly self-proclaimed. I don't know who kind of initiated that, but I couldn't agree more with it. I absolutely feel that these guys are dogs. As far as the Vesia Gratterall question, Vesia, I think, is going to throw a live today or tomorrow. I think it's today or tomorrow, and he's going to throw it to some hitters. But they both are trending in the right direction. But I do feel with both those guys, it's going to be a kind of game time decision as far as when we got to submit, if they're going to be viable or not.
Thank you.
You got it.
Next question's from Juan Toribio. Go ahead, Juan.
Hey, Dave. Freddie was just in here talking about he feels that he'll be ready to go for game one. And how much do you think these days off are going to help him moving forward?
I think huge. I think it certainly hurt him not being able to, be a part of things and certainly, being a part of Game 6. But appreciating the fact that we got 4 more days to nurse his ankle back to health. I think there's only upside in that. I think mentally, I think he's in a good spot, anxious, obviously with the ankle. But I don't doubt the fact that he'll be in there for game one. And, hopefully with these days that we've gotten ourselves out of the woods and we can manage him, throughout the World Series.
And then behind Jack, how do you see Walker and Yamamoto kind of fitting into the pitching plan? And then obviously the bullpen game, if that's what you guys are going with.
There will be a bullpen game. Yamamoto is going to pitch game 2. And I think over the next couple of days, we'll sort of talk through how game 3 and 4 look.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Fabiana Ardaya. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, sort of on that, how do you sort of balance? Obviously, you want Yamamoto to be able to pitch twice in the series, along with the fact that you're probably going to have a bullpen game during a stretch of 3 games in a row.
Yeah, so I think the Yamamoto piece is pretty easy, giving him a chance to pitch in game 2 and potentially a game 6. And then as far as kind of seeing, how Vesia, Gratterall, how game 3 potentially looks as we go into game 3 coming off an off day, is kind of the question, whether it's Walker or a bullpen game or vice versa.
And then with Best Freddie, what do you want to see from his swing just in the next couple of days? Just sort of, he's in a good spot. Obviously, not just being healthy enough to be out there, but that his swing is back in a good enough spot for you guys.
Actually, before game 6, we had a workout, and I thought his swing was trending in the right direction. I think the problem is that once he gets out to play defense, then it sort of takes a downturn. And so that's why we decided not to play him in game 6. But hoping that the 4 days, the swing will continue to get better, the ankle will continue to get better, and he'll be able to withstand playing 9 innings. So I do think that, even today he's going to go out there and take some batting practice. I think the swing's going to be in a good place. Again, it's just kind of seeing how long we can kind of sustain that.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Dylan Hernandez. Go ahead, Dylan.
メジャー翻訳速報。いよいよワールドシリーズが始まりますね。ドジャース2戦目に山本由伸投手の先発が決定しました。フラハティ投手が1戦目を任されていますが、2戦目での山本投手の活躍に期待が高まります。またソト選手や大谷選手など強力打線の対決も見どころですね。ソト選手の素晴らしい打撃フォームはまさに天性の打者という感じがしました。皆さんもこのビッグマッチを楽しみにしているのではないでしょうか。皆さんはどう思われますか？ぜひコメント欄で感想をお聞かせください。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。